What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric and we talk about everything photo and video here. Today we are talking about DJI drones and more specifically my Mavic 2 Pro. So I think we can all agree at this point that DJI is the king of drones, but something has been bothering me lately. I got my Mavic 2 Pro 3 years ago, the very day it was released to the public. And since then, I've had a great time with it. I've taken it around the world and I've gotten some amazing video. I picked up the drone for almost $1,800 with the Fly More combo that comes with some batteries and some extra accessories. It is not a cheap piece of equipment, it is expensive. And it does produce amazing quality photos and videos. I mean, it's actually unreal when you think about it, that you can send a camera up in the air, you can fly it around, you can have it fly in automated ways. Amazing piece of technology. But my problem with it is that it's not built to last. You see, I have probably flown this thing about 20 times a year for the past 3 years. I'm not a heavy user. And over time, I just noticed parts just getting worn out and breaking, parts that I feel like shouldn't be failing. Like if it was the propellers or honestly even the motors, I could see, okay, those are parts that get a lot of wear and tear, and so they probably should be repairable or user replaceable or something. But in my case, it's lots of other things. For example, the front sensors just failed one day, and I got an error message saying there was a problem with the front sensors and they're not working. The drone was never in a crash and was never abused, so it was kind of strange to me that the front sensors would just stop working suddenly one day. Again, I'm not a heavy flyer, I'm flying 20 to 30 times a year at most. So the next issue I had was with the controller. So one day I turned the controller on and I got a loud error message saying that the thumbsticks need to be calibrated. So I did the calibration, and what I found out is that the left thumbstick was receiving an input even though I wasn't touching it. And so I calibrated the controller, but the problem still didn't go away. And so I actually ended up calibrating it like 2 or 3 or 4 times before it actually went away and I was able to fly. Because you can't fly if you're getting that error. It will not let you take off. But the very next time I went to use the drone, like if I shut the drone off and the controller off and I turn it on 20 minutes later, I get the same problem and I have to calibrate the controller like another 3 or 4 times before I can get the controller working again. And I just think that there's no reason for that to be happening. I mean, this controller is in like new condition. It's weird for these issues to just be popping up out of nowhere. And the last issue, and possibly the worst issue, has to do with the battery. I know a lot of people have complained about this particular problem online, and that's that the batteries don't seem to last all that long. So I got 3 batteries with my Fly More kit, and I would just rotate them through the drone. I actually numbered them so I could tell which battery is which. And a few months ago, I noticed that one of the batteries was swelling up a lot. And actually, it was very dangerous because what was happening was when the battery was in use, it would heat up and expand. So obviously, the battery swelling up in mid-flight is extremely bad, because if it swells up enough, it will dislodge from the drone and both the drone and the battery are gonna fall out of the sky, whether they're gonna land in the middle of the jungle or even worse, on top of people or cars or something like that. Both of those scenarios are not good, and you definitely don't wanna lose your very expensive drone. And once this happened to me and I researched it, I found that a lot of people were having the same problem. And DJI's response to this tended to be something along the lines of that you need to take care of the battery, you can't discharge it completely, you have to store it at 2/3 or 50% for when you're putting it in long-term storage. And I could maybe buy that if these weren't very expensive, intelligent flight batteries. I mean, these aren't just like AA batteries you'd stick in a flash. I mean, these are very expensive. They actually unload themselves. If you'd fully charge this and then you just let it sit around for a few days, it will lower itself to like halfway or 2/3, because that's the optimal way to store it, to maintain the battery life. So I did all of those things and I didn't abuse the batteries, but I still had one that swelled up and now I can't use it. And I just think that it's unacceptable to be paying such a large amount of money for this kind of equipment and just have it fail so easily. I mean, can you imagine if you bought an Apple MacBook or an iPhone and it just failed after using it 60 or 70 times? That wouldn't be acceptable. I mean, for sure. So why is it that DJI, a company that's clearly capable of making great products, why is it just acceptable for them to make products that clearly aren't built to last? And the more I think about it, the more I think that this could be done intentionally in order for people to want to upgrade every few years. It's sort of like the whole thing with iPhones, how, they slow down after a few years, or they're really hard to repair, so that Apple wants, to induce more sales every time they come out with a new iPhone. I feel like DJI is doing the same thing with drones. It seems like a new drone comes out every year or every 2 years at most, and they try to push everyone into whatever the newest thing is. And honestly, even the original Mavic Pro, which is, really old by now, that was a great drone on its own. I'd still love to have that. And so I think one way DJI helps that happen is by allowing these, semi-design flaws, or, not letting the quality get too great so that the product eventually fails and the consumer needs to upgrade. So I actually reached out to DJI about these problems, and they asked me to send them a video of some of the stuff I was seeing. So I'm definitely gonna do that and post an update in the description below. So be sure to check that out. So that's really it for today. I just wanted to bring this up because it was really frustrating for me, and I feel like a lot of people out there are probably dealing with the same problem. Whether it's with DJI or another company, I think it's becoming a more and more common experience that people are buying premium products and then they're finding out that they're just not lasting. So if you've had a similar experience with your drone, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.